Are you ready? Are you ready for all things spring? What do you think? If you are, then stick around. This just might be the video for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leanne and I am the face behind Small Gestures, Vintage and Crafts. And I am so grateful that you are here. Yes, this week's video is all about spring. It is mid-February and we are kicking it off with a bang this week with the unboxing of the February box from Sonnet's Garden Blooms, the Maker's Box. There are some incredible papers from Royce and from the Painted Photographer, some beautiful paint colors. If you are looking for something to get your creative juices flowing for the spring, this just might be it. And stick around, you can get a little peek at what you get with a Maker's Box and what could be coming to your door. So if you are ready, let's do it. Yes, this is the best part. Opening the box and seeing what is in store for us each month. And Sonnet did not disappoint in the month of February because we have a big bonus in this month's box, and that is extra copies of all of the papers that we received in January, which are exclusive to the Maker's Box, by the way. Thank you, Royce. Thank you, Connie. These beautiful papers that you see are only available through the Maker's Box. So this month is jam-packed full of supplies to get started with your creativity. First up, from Roycycled Papers, we have Spring Musical Notes. And this is the Vintage Botanical Masterboard. Connie, the Painter Photographer, this is called Spread Your Wings, that pretty little dragonfly. And how sweet is this summer cottage? Love that. Sweet Pickins Milk Paint is in Suitcase. And then look at this little bonus this month, a little thank you gift, a little laser engraving of Amazing Grace. And DIY paint colors are Mint Chip and Petticoat Pink, two colors that are brand new to me. And for Fusion, these are also new to me colors for Fusion. That's why I love this box. Willowbank, which is a beautiful blue, and the yellow is Buttermilk Green. For my first project this week, we're using this wooden frame. This has been in my inventory for several years, and this is a pretty large frame, a 16 by 16 frame, and we're going to use this beautiful Spring Musical Notes from Royce for this. I'm just trying to decide exactly what image I want to decoupage on the inside. But this is a beautiful wood frame, and if you can see the off-white in there, that's actually, there's grooves in the wood frame. So the surface is smooth, but there's grooves. But I'm gonna take it outside. I just gave it a quick sand. I wanted to bring out more of the wood tone, and then you would really just see the off-white paint down in those grooves. I thought that would complement nicely with that paper, with that beautiful decoupage paper. So I'm just coming in with some Dixie Belle clear flat top coat to protect the frame, and then we're going to get started. So I had some old 1/8 inch chipboard, and I just cut it down to size for the inside of the frame. And then there's just some staple holes for a project that we had used it for previously. So I'm just covering those up, and I spray painted it white. And now I'm just, going back to trying to decide exactly what pattern I want to highlight in that beautiful frame. And you can see it's spray painted white. I did not put any additional paint on top of it. The white really makes that the decoupage paper pop. You don't have to paint your surface below decoupage white, but it really does make it stand out. And I'm going in with DIY's Liquid Patina. I love using this for a decoupage medium, and I'm just starting off with a starter strip and just starting at one end and spritzing the back of the decoupage paper. It really kind of helps the fiber stretch and helps reduce any wrinkling and crinkles that you get in the paper. So I just start off on one side and then just work my way down until the whole piece is decoupaged. So I'm going to apologize up front. I decided to shoot overhead for this video. Did not realize that my head would be in the way as much as it was. Sorry about that. But so I've got the main part of the decoupage done. There was a couple of areas along the edge that I didn't get, so I just touched that up a little bit. And then I'm going in with a clear top coat over the top of the decoupage, and I decided to cut out this little moth. I did a little fussy cut and put him in the corner of my paper. So after the decoupage was good and dry, then I just came in with my finger sander and sanded off all of the excess. I wanted to glue that chipboard down on the inside of the frame, so I just came in with some Quick and Thick with a little thin bead and spread it out a little bit and placed the chipboard that has the decoupage paper in the middle and let it set up for just a bit. I wanted to add a paper backing on the back of this frame, and the chipboard didn't, there was still a good depth that it was sitting down in the inside of this frame. So I came along with some foam board from Dollar Tree, and I just put 2 layers of foam board to help build it up. And then I got the handy dandy tool off of Amazon that inserts those little pins in the back of frames, and I absolutely love it. It is so easy to use. Now that everything is attached securely, I wanted to back the frame, so I picked up a roll of heavy contractor's paper at Lowe's. It's like a 140-foot roll for $13. It's heavyweight. It's what I use on my desk. I didn't know how well it would work on the frame, but it worked beautifully well, and this is my favorite way to back a frame. My mom taught me years ago. My grandfather owned a framing company, and my mom was an artist, so I saw my mom doing this for years. Just take plain old Elmer's glue, spread it on the back of your frame, and then you take your brown paper, spritz it with water, and attach it to the back of the frame, press it down securely, and as it dries, it sucks the paper down and you get this beautiful tight seal all on the back of the picture frame. Now that everything is completely dry, I do the same thing as I do with decoupage paper, and I just came in with a low grit sanding block, and because the paper is so thick, and then just sanded it off just like I would decoupage paper, and it comes right off, leaves a beautiful, nice, clean, sharp edge. If you have thought about getting the Maker's Box, but you just haven't done it yet, I have some good news for you. Because even though Sonnet is on a wait list right now for her Maker's Box, I have an affiliate link in the description box of the video, and you click on that and you can bypass the wait list and go ahead and start getting your box. This is the perfect time I know there's going to be some incredible designs coming out from Connie and Royce that are going to be in these boxes, and spring and summer is the perfect time to get inspired and get started with your creativity. So next in the lineup this week is this little wooden box I picked up at Goodwill, I think for just over $2. And when I started cleaning this, it was so much of this color was coming off, the green, the brown from the inside. So I scrubbed it as best I could and actually gave it 2 really good coats of shellac. I didn't want any bleed through. And we're going to use a couple of different colors on this. I am going to use the color Willowbank. It's a beautiful blue for the inside and the bottom of this. And then the sides, I came in with Silk Mineral Paint by Dixie Belle. This is in Endless Shore. It's a really nice warm white. And all 4 sides are going to get this coat, because we're going to do decoupage on the 2 long sides, and on the short sides where the handles are, we're going to leave those plain. Because the silk mineral paint has a top coat built into it in addition to a primer, I wanted to paint the handle, but I couldn't let it dry completely because then I wouldn't be able to wet distress it like you can with a chalk or a clay-based paint. So before it dried completely, I just came in with a wet shop towel just to distress back some of the color and give it a little more of a worn look that I was looking for. One thing I love about these fusion paints too is it's got a top coat, and it's got like the primer and the top coat built into it. So gives me a little more assurance that I'm not going to have any type of a bleed through, even though I did do a couple layers of shellac on the bottom of this. But this is a beautiful, this Willowbank color. I love this blue. And I love how it looks with the paper. We're going to be using the Roycycled's Botanical Masterboard, the vintage Botanical Masterboard, for the 2 sides of this box. And I love the way all of the colors and how everything just came together. So I'm trying to decide which sections of the paper I want to use for the 2 sides. And there's those little metal brackets that wrap around the sides. What I wanted to do is I wanted to actually cut out and not decoupage onto those little metal brackets. I wanted to distress them a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out where I want the paper lined up so I don't cut into some of those beautiful, colorful flowers. So you can see as I'm putting down, I'm using liquid patina, again by DIY, and as my decoupage medium, and I'm just going around those brackets. I don't want the paper to stick to those little metal pieces specifically. This box also has those little grooves that run along the side of it. You can kind of see them there. So you'll see me as I'm putting the decoupage paper down, I'm trying very gently just to push the paper down. I don't want to break through the paper, but just to kind of help push them down into those little ridges. So that's just another little detail that I wanted you to be able to see through the paper. Whenever I decoupage, my go-to is just a regular old little Ziploc bag to smooth the paper down. That way I don't get glue on my hands and start tearing paper. It just helps you smooth everything out without having anything stick to your fingers. I've seen some people use like balled up saran or any really kind of plastic would work just great. And then once everything is dry, then I'm just coming along with a finger sander and cleaning up the edges. So after everything is dry, it's my favorite part, taking my sander and just going to town with the distressing. Even though that fusion paint has a top coat and the decoupage paper was top coated, I did go over it again with some of the Dixie Belle top coat in just a flat finish, just to help protect the sides and edges of this box. And then I wanted to go in and age it a little bit, so I pulled out my brown wax. This is Dixie Belle Bestang wax in brown. And I wanted to distress the metal brackets a little bit. I wasn't crazy about how it was looking, so I just pulled out my clear wax from DIY. And the great thing about waxes, if you don't like how it looks, clear wax works great as an eraser. So I just came in with a little bit of the clear wax and distressed and wiped back some of that dark wax until I was happy with how it looked. I decided to add some little metal feet to the bottom, and one side is more colorful for spring with those pretty flowers, and then the other side is more muted. You know, it would be great for fall with that little moth, and I just love this little box. So for project number 3, we are on to the Painted Photographer rice paper, and this is called Spread Your Wings. I just love that teal color in that Dragonfly, and I have these bottles that I had thrifted. I did spray one with just a matte clear top coat just to give it a little more tooth for the paint to stick to, and we're going to cut out, use one of the smaller Dragonflies, and I just took a little paintbrush and some water to decide where I wanted to tear around the image so I didn't have a clean cut line. And I apologize up front. I did not realize how much my head was getting in the way, but lesson learned. But anyway, I went through and kind of outlined the little Dragonfly where I wanted it. And I love when you use this method with rice paper, it really pulls out the fibers in the paper and you can see those. And I just love how it looks as opposed to having a sharp cut line. So I'm painting the jar, and I'm using Fusion paint in cashmere, and I'm just mixing this with a little bit of sea spray from Dixie Belle. Just gives a nice texture to the paint. You can use as much or as little sea spray as you want, and just adjust it to however thick and textured you would like your paint. So I just mix that together, stir it really, really well. And I like to go in with the first coat. I just use a chip brush. The paint goes down beautifully, but I can put a nice quick base coat, and then once that dries, I follow up for the second coat, and I use a little sponge and just dab it on. I don't have to worry about any kind of brush strokes, and it gives it a little more texture and dimension, and I get a little thicker coverage. So after my paint was completely dry, then I went ahead and I just spritzed the back of the little Dragonfly and used, again, liquid patina as my decoupage medium and put some down, and then added this little cutie to the jar. So I used the liquid patina, of course, on the bottom, and then went back over it on the top. One, it really helps seal those edges in, and especially because it's on a textured surface. And Fusion paint does not need to be top coated, but I did go back in with a Dixie Belle flat top coat just to give it a little extra protection. And I decided I wanted to try a splatter technique. I love Connie's splatters that she adds to her paintings. So I decided to take a little bit of Walk on Water, which was in last month's box, and Mint Chip in this month's box, and mix them together to create that teal color in the dragonfly wings. I added a lot of water, and I wanted to do just a little bit of splatter on the bottle with this beautiful teal color. And I thought, the top coat, with the bottle being top coated, then if I didn't like it, I could wipe it off. So I tried the splatter, and I think I got a little heavy-handed with it. I just really didn't like it, and I didn't account for the texture in the paint. It didn't wipe off as easily as I had planned. So I just came right back in and put another coat of that textured paint in the cashmere and just covered it all up. I decided to add a little something extra to the bottle, and I have these Tim Holtz medallions I got off Amazon. I want to be improbable and afraid of nothing, as if I had wings. And the other one, hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul. So I picked which one I liked best for this little bottle, just tied it tied some twine around it, made a little knot, wrapped it around the neck, and this little cutie is all done. So for my final project this week, I'm using this little plant stand I picked up at Hobby Lobby last year when all of their spring stuff was like 75% off. And I decided to use this for the painted photographer Connie's rice paper called Summer Cottage. I took this stand outside, gave it a good sanding. There was a lot of really rough edges on it, and then I sprayed it with a couple of coats of shellac because there were some areas I took it down to the raw wood. And we're coming in with Petticoat Pink, this year or this month's other DIY color in the February box. I've never used it before. It's a beautiful pink color. That's one of the things I love about this box. It gives me samples of paint colors that I don't know if I would normally purchase, and I end up loving. And I absolutely love watching DIY paint dry because as it dries, it goes lighter, and then when you put a top coat on it or you wax it, it kind of goes, the color darkens just a little bit, like in between the original paint color and then when it's dried. So I just came in with a second coat on the sides, and when this little stool was outside, I went ahead and sprayed the top white so it would be ready for the rice paper, and then I just decided to do some distressing before I did my decoupage. You know, these papers and these boxes, Sonnet's box, really make me think outside the box. Like, I love this painting that Connie did, but I'm not going to lie. When I first saw it, I thought, how am I going to use this? I have no idea how I'm going to use it. And so I started looking through my stash and then ended up coming up with 2 or 3 different ideas, things that I could do kind of outside the norm. And I settled on this stool, and I really love that I do have to think outside the box. I can't go to my easy go-to each month when I create. Liquid patina to the rescue again for my decoupage process with this paper. And you can see there's some cracks down there on the top of the stool, and I'm actually going to be cutting the paper where those cracks are because you can see through the paper. I don't want to try to hide it in any way, so I thought I would embrace the chippy, cracked, worn look and really kind of distress this little baby. I wanted to wait until the decoupage was good and dry before I sanded the edges and then before I cut this crack because I didn't want to take a chance of tearing any of the paper, but I just sliced it where the stool was cracked on the top and pushed the paint down pushed the paper down, and then when I gave it a good top coat, then I really worked that liquid patina down into those cracks as well. After everything was dry, then it got another top coat of Big Top by DIY because I was going to come in with dark wax and really accentuate some of the cracks and the wood that was showing. I wanted to really make it look like an old stool, And by putting that top coat, some kind of a top coat down before you put a colored wax down, then it will make distressing it back just a little bit easier. Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. If you know of someone that would like my content, please share the video. And if you've not already, I would really appreciate a like, a subscribe. Please drop me a comment. I love hearing from all of you guys. And if you think you might be interested in the Maker's Box, I do have an affiliate link in the description box below the video. So thanks again. Have a great week. And until next time, take care.